AWIC TV Experiences with anointed women in Christ. Join us for this segment, Name It and Claim It, with our special guest, the Helena Yancey, host of Writer's Haven, with your host, Latricia C. Bailey of the Bag Lady series, and her co-host, Minister Chris Allen of Restoration Speaks, Tammy A. Phillips of Tam's Tidbits, Lynette McCullum of Majestic Minds, Harriet V. Bennett, Wordswoman, and Dr. Lisa T. Lewis, the BS Boss. Experience it, AWIC TV, with real women discussing real issues and giving real answers. We are AWIC. Join in the conversation.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to AWIC TV Experience It. I'm your host, Latricia C. Bailey, and we are back for another show. And as always, I'm excited about every show, but I'm really excited today because we had a comedy of errors going on beforehand. And I just want you to know behind the scenes, but God always shows up on time, not in our time, but in his time. And I'm glad to have our guest on who can relate to these things because she is the award-winning executive producer of the Writer's Haven show. And we're going to bring her on in a few minutes, but we've got to open up in prayer, do a little housekeeping, and then we'll go right into the show. You guys ready?
Ready.
All right. Father God, we do bless you and we thank you for always making a way. God, I thank you that you get your glory and have your way as we move forward in this show. We bless you, we honor you, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Little housekeeping now. Let's see. We always want to remind you to follow us and stalk us in a good way, right? So don't forget to go on our social, go on our Facebook page. Some of you are already there looking at our show. And we want you to tell your friends and family, loved ones, strangers, neighbors, anybody you come in contact with about Anointed Women in Christ show, AWIC TV Experience It. Because without you, it would just be us talking to one another, having a good girl chit chat. And that's all well and good, but we want to be a resource for you guys. So follow us on IG, Twitter at AWIC for Christ, like our Facebook page and LinkedIn page at Anointed Women in Christ, and AWIC is in the parentheses. So all I always tell you is Google us. You'll find us. We're everywhere. And don't forget, you can always have a show because guess what? We have our own network. Woo!
That's right.
VBN, Value Voice Victory Belief Network. And we're celebrating a year come up on having a network. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh, that's
Unbelievable. That went by
Yes.
so quickly.
I know. And so
God is good.
all the time. Look, all the time.
Yeah.
And so we want you to find out where we are and follow us. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. So be a part of the process. Be a part of the conversation and join us.
Yeah.
So let's get started. If anybody has anything to say before we get started, chime in.
Well, I want to say one thing about the VBN network and being able to see our show because my mommy just bought a smart TV and she is so excited that she'll be able to see us.
Hey, Mama Ruby.
How smart is that?
Hi,
Hey, Mama Ruby.
She could never get us on Facebook. She couldn't figure it out. She would try. So yeah. Now she has a smart TV. All she has to do is speak it into her remote.
Come on now.
That's exciting.
That's exciting. Yes, we make it easy to find us. We are everywhere.
Yeah.
We are Roku, Amazon. Yes, we're out there. Definitely find us.
And that just shows that we're for any age. Any age.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody.
Everybody. Actually, so we're going to talk with the Helena Yancey. I'm excited to have her come on the show. Harry, you got to find me another word other than exciting. Remember,
I know. I'm working on it.
I keep saying exciting. Okay, we got to find another word. But I'm happy to have her on our show. She knows what things are like with having her own show. And so we're going to have her on, talk about her show. She's an author. She's kind of like the superwoman. She does it all. She does a little bit of everything. So let's bring her on. V. Helena Yancey, come on and
Come
join
on
AWIC
in.
TV
Hello,
experience.
anointed women in Christ. It's
Hey, hello,
huge.
beautiful.
Welcome.
Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad that you are here on this particular show because we know what it's like to be behind the scenes and have things going on, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that you can relate to that. And so, before we
Yeah.
get started, tell us a little bit about. I think because I don't usually read bios, and I'm not going to tell you. Tell us a little bit about you, but we're going to find out as we organically talk. But in 2010, you established Rizen or
Mm-hmm.
Risen, right?
Rising. Yep.
Phoenix Rizen Entertainment, and it's a conglomerate for book publishing and film and video productions. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you
Sure.
got started?
So I went to undergrad and I studied radio, television, and film. And but I also had a real passion for writing, and so I always thought that I would be in the business, but I would be there as a screenwriter, um,
Hmm.
as an author. So I went to school and I studied, basically the basics in producing for radio, television, film. And then I just had a book in my heart to write that had nothing to do with radio, television, and film. It had
Wow.
thing to do with just I'm a very sociable person, and I am an introvert, if you can put that together.
Hmm.
Yes,
Tell
I
me how
can.
that's
I'm an
possible.
I'm an
um,
introvert.
but I love people, and
Hmm.
so I just love relating to them and talking to them. And so, it was in my 20s, and women my age, most of the time, we're talking about relationships and men and all of that. And so I just had this book in my heart to write about relationships, and but from a Christian aspect of it.
Hmm.
I wanted to write a book that wasn't just your regular relationship book, but just hear what Christian women had to,
Right.
about relationships. And it started off that way, because you never know where the Lord is going to take you. I went to school to study this and thought I
Hmm.
would be writing for television by now, or at least writing film scripts. But
Hmm.
my journey really led me more towards writing, but still having an appreciation for the arts.
Right.
So I self-published two books, but I still had that desire to write and to learn more about how other writers do it.
Hmm.
And that's when the Writers Haven show evolved, because it was an opportunity for me to connect with creatives and to hear how what their process is for writing, whatever the genre. And I thought, well, there's probably other people that would love to hear more about this, that may be in the infancy of their journey of writing, and could really glean from these folks that I'm speaking with. So that's what birthed the show, the Writers Haven show.
Okay. Okay. So, and thank you for that because my degree is in journalism. So as a journalist, I can relate to that. I always wanted to have my own TV station, and so um, I can relate to having that desire and that thirst for doing the writing and the producing and the behind the scenes. And so that's not the case right now. I don't do all of that, but because technology has changed how we do stuff, used to be that. Wow, wow. It has changed how we do things. We can do things. We can reach people globally now, where back in the day, you actually had to literally get on a plane and go fly and
Yeah.
make connections. So it's a lot easier to connect with people nowadays. But I did want to show, you mentioned your cover. I wanted to show, your book. We wanted to show your cover really
Okay.
quickly.
This is actually book two.
Oh,
Um, the first one, His Love is Freedom, was just about how we as women and men come together and we experience His love, and it's through that vertical relationship with Him that we're able to have these horizontal relationships with the
mhm.
people in our lives. So that was the foundation of that book. And then His Love is Complete was actually written and published while I was going through the process of being courted by
Oh,
my next husband.
oh, that's nice.
So his love is complete is just the completion of how he shows up in our life and makes us full and complete. And it's not because of the other person, but it's because of the gift of that other person that allows us to see his love in that person.
Congratulations. How long have you been married?
We've been married for 9 years, and it's the only reason why I hesitate is we dated for 5, so I always have to that part down.
Look,
and
add those dates in there too. Add all of that.
So total of 9 married and 5 before that dating. Yeah.
Right. Congratulations. Courting. Yeah.
Courting, I love it.
I know people don't talk about courting nowadays. Yeah. So then you started this, and now how did you come up with the show, the Writers Haven show, which just want to announce it, it's in its 7th season now? Coming up on the 7th season?
Yes.
We go to the 7th season in January. Usually would have started in September. And I don't want to blame it on COVID because it's so convenient.
Yeah, everything is because of COVID. That's it.
Right. But I mean, that's a whole nother story, and maybe even a show of, just how it impacted me, because I lost some friends, I lost some relatives. Yeah. And with the work environment and the change, I just felt like there was a lot on me, a lot of pressure. And so that really is what pushed our season start into January. I was like, okay, I gotta get myself together, keep this going. And so that's when we're kicking off. And the great thing about the show now is when we started it in 2017, it was, I was hard pressed to find people to be guests on the show. Yeah. Oh, but now it's
they're everywhere. It's easy to find. Yeah.
They're easy to find. They're coming to me. They're reminding me that they're supposed to be in season 7. I'm like, okay, my assistant will be sure to get you that information. But you asked me what made me start the show. So it was really, as I said, it was me learning from musicians and authors of literature, poetry, playwrights, different writers from different genres. And I'm in the arts, and so I'm talking to them, and I'm like, there are other people who, as I said before, would love to hear how you got started. Like Victoria, for example, she's she writes in the Christian literature genre. She just recently wrote a book in historical fiction that is like a New York Times bestselling book right now. It's still on the charts. It came out, I think, in September, October. But people like her and talking to her and other authors who are just very, very just okay with sharing that information, just very generous about sharing their God-given talent. So it's just a vehicle to get the information out. I just set the course for having the dialogue and just have folks on the show to talk about it. And it's just been a really good marriage for me in being able to appreciate the art that I love very much. Share that with other people who also have the love for writing.
Yeah, that is a popular thing nowadays. There are a lot of artists, writers, a lot of creatives out there, and I love it. I'm a creative, and we're all creatives, but I love it that there's a lot more of that out here, an opportunity for their work to be showcased. Because as they used to cut arts in the schools, and so now it's a prominent thing. But before we go any further, I want to show a clip of your show so we can let the audience know what your work is like. It's really a beautiful clip.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let's show the clip real quick. We will be back to discuss the show.
Hello, dreamy people, and welcome to another exciting season of the Writers Haven Show. I'm Helena, your host and executive producer. Since 2017, we've invited you into the Haven where we showcase the passion, process, and projects of writers of literature, television, film, and music. Over 2.5 million of you are tuning in to one of 23 channels or streaming us on iHeartRadio, Sonos, Spreaker, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Alexa, and YouTube. We appreciate the love and hope our programming inspires and motivates you. We drop new episodes every week, so subscribe and never miss a show. I want to stay connected to you, so hit me up socially on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr at Author V. Helena at Writers Haven Show with V. Helena. I look forward to seeing you in the Haven, and until next time, catch fire on purpose.
I know that's right.
Yes.
Catch fire on purpose. I love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
that has been a catchphrase that's been near and dear to me because I believe in, I promise I'm not going to preach, but I believe in
Preach, we okay.
being on fire for the Lord. Like when he places that purpose in your heart and your soul and you embrace it, there is nothing more combustible. So that's what I mean about catching fire on purpose. Like do it on purpose. It's your purpose. So be intentional, be focused. Don't give up. There's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's always going to be people around that's going to, try to put that negativity in your spirit. And, you got the big man with your back. It's like standing there and having this big lion behind you.
Come on now. Talk about it.
Thing.
I love it.
From what you're trying to do. And that's exactly, how I see it. So, and I'm actually going to be, I've started writing a book. It's for young people about finding their purpose and being on for it. So that's in the works after I finish this novel.
Right. After you put out the one written book, then you get another written book, and then you have another one, and then another one, and then
Come
on. Absolutely. Lynette, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say it excites me. I'm using your word, Latricia. So Harry comes up with another one for us. It excites me to see that you have interviewed, there's 7 seasons and you have interviewed so many people of the arts, with all the gifts and talents and things like that. So I know this question is probably going to be very difficult for you, but we want to put you, put you on the, the discomfort seat.
Okay.
Who would you say was your most interesting or again exciting interview, and why?
Wow. It can only be one person.
We'll start with one, but no, you can answer however you please.
So Tina McElroy Anza, who I have loved and adored for many years. Gosh, when I got to interview her, also Alice Walker, another person.
Nice.
I hit the floor. Donna Hill was another person. For years, I was like, ever since season 1, I was trying to get her on the show, and I finally got her in season 4. Walter Mosley.
You doing good.
I mean, just people who, in my opinion, are just really larger than life.
Right.
And to be able to talk to them and, just kind of hear from them about their process and their passion for writing. And the most intellectual and most intimidating, interviews that I did, like I was sweating the entire time. Usually when I do an interview, is right before the interview, I'm like, and then like as it starts, I just lose myself in it. But 2 interviews that I did that just kept me on point, and because it was very cerebral, was Walter Mosley and Marita Golden. Because Marita Golden is just like super powerhouse. the grandmother of literature. I put her up there with Alice Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Would have loved to interview Toni Morrison, but that didn't happen. I was trying to make that didn't. I was, I'm okay with traveling. But see, now the good thing with COVID is that we do it virtually. So that broadened the space for me too with the people that I get to interview. But yeah, those were, I couldn't just name one. And if they're watching, it's like, what?
No, you're my favorite. No, you're my favorite. No, you're my favorite. You know what? All of you are my favorite.
No, the question was, what was the most interesting?
Right.
Yeah.
I have favorites. That's a whole nother list.
Uh-oh.
You have what? That's a whole nother
Favorites.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Well, I won't put you up to name any more favorites if you think you might get in trouble. But I love that you're saying that you said you're writing a book for young people, because that's a huge audience now, a huge industry in terms of people who are writing. But let me ask you, have you found young authors? And if so, I mean, how are you bringing them along? Have they been on your show, or how are you encouraging them?
Wow. So, Harriet, I have such a heart for young people. And so I actually teach workshops. The two books that I talked about before, His Love is Freedom and His Love is Complete, there's poetry in those books and short stories. And so I have been very, very blessed to be able to go out in the schools and teach poetry classes, workshops, and also novel writing, as young as elementary school students and as old as high school students. I don't know if I want to mess with college students. Yeah. But what I do with college students is I have a partnership with Bowie State University, and the college students actually work on the set of the show. So I did one summer have some high school students, but the college students were a lot more flexible because they have cars, they can drive, wherever the show is. Some of the footage in the promo were at on location, and you see me in front of the camera, so I'm obviously not behind the camera taking the footage. Those are my college students that are doing that. And also some of the sometimes I have to pull a favor from one of my film school friends. Hey, if you do this shoot for me, I'll do a shoot for you, kind of thing. This little bartering agreements. They're doing sound, because sound can be challenging. Lighting can be challenging. So you got to have like the right people that know how to do that stuff. But everything else, the college students are there, and I'm very thankful for that partnership I have with Bowie State and Prince George's Community College.
That's good. Yeah, it's always good to have them. But I would encourage you, yes, college students are fine. My daughter is in college now, and she could use your help as well. Because, I find a lot of times, especially with the last year that we've had with COVID, a lot of them had to make so many adjustments that they never would have normally traditionally have had to make, and going from being in person to school to doing it on virtually, and a lot of the things that they would normally do, they weren't able to do. But this is the best time to walk in your purpose, to develop your purpose, to know what your purpose is, and where you having that passion for them, for people, and for young people. Yep, I still consider myself a young person, but anyways, for us young people. Because we're always learning. We should always be in a state of learning, especially
learning. That's a big part too. I don't think we ever get to a place where we know everything.
Right.
Open knowledge is really key.
Yeah, always a student, especially as Christians, we should always be learning and experiencing things. But yeah. So what is it like to run your show? I mean, I know that you have the students helping you. What's it like? Just tell us a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say 2017, it was so exciting. It was, because it's new, and like I said, I went to film school. I have a master's in producing for film and video, and so to take that and to put it into practice was just very, very exciting for me. And now, and I was doing a lot of the hands-on, like I wrote my own copy. Um, and I was very meticulous.
Hmm.
So I knew exactly how I wanted things, storyboarding, all that stuff. Now I'm just kind of stepping back and, letting the students, because that's like part of their whole learning process, and
Right.
letting them doing that. And so it's a different kind of experience now than it was
Hmm.
when I started. But, I'm still biting my nails sometimes when sometimes students, you tell them one time, they have a different time, schedule, clock, whatever.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
in the studio, we're all adults, and so those people kind of fill in the gap. But those are the things that I don't want to have to worry about that can make me a little bit anxious. And so as a
Right.
producer, you gotta make sure that all of these things are coming together. But then when you're also on the other side of the camera, like the four of you are, at, hosting, that's a whole nother vibe as well. You can't necessarily be looking what's going on behind the scenes while
Right.
you're in front of the camera. You got
Exactly.
to trust
Yeah.
the people that you've entrusted to do different roles. So it can be exhausting.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Challenging.
And as you were talking about the using the students from Bowie College and doing your show, I understand that something else developed out of that. You are the president of the Bowie, what is it? Bowie Communication Media Corporation.
Yeah, it's the Bowie Community Media Corporation.
Community.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, I was, when did this is 2021. So I've been the president of that organization since 2019, but I've been on the board since 2017. And it's a great, great opportunity to be able to have some influence on the programming of the two channels that the city of Bowie manages. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's been great. We've had all sorts of, because it's public access, so all sorts of programming come in: informational, educational, entertaining, sports, news, come into the channel since I've been there. And I think much of that is to really letting people know I one of the things that I came to understand just as a member before I board was, our programming could be a lot better if we just kind of marketed ourselves and let people know
Mhm.
here and the kind of programming that we're looking for. And so, we did this full court press on getting the word out, and whether it's by word of mouth or postings, to let people know. And so we've really, really grown. I believe that when we first came in, there were, well, I'll say active producers, because there's people who are producers on paper, but they ain't producing nothing. So there were, I would say there were about, I'll say 20. I mean, it's probably,
Mm.
say there were 20
Wow.
active producers. Now we're in COVID. We've gotten even more because you would think, okay, COVID, people are just kind of
Mm-mm.
scared back. But no, we've had a large number of people in the last year that have signed up to produce all kinds of shows. So I'm very, very excited about our programming. Channel 11 and 77, for those of you who want to tune
Uh-huh.
in to the Bowie
11
channel.
and 74.
And also, it's not just in Bowie. From what I understand, that there are other parts of Prince George's County that can also pick up Verizon and Comcast. So yeah, if you're listening, tune in to those channels and check us out. And visit our website. Is it okay for me to say the website?
Sure.
Okay, so bcmctv.org is our website. You can go to our website and learn more about our mission as well as see some of the programming that we're doing, and tune in. And if you are interested in producing, um, come on in, fill out an application. You don't have to know anything about television production. We do have staff that will take care of the production side of it. But if you want to be in front of the camera or just produce someone else that's hosting, definitely come and check us out. Be a part of our family.
Yeah,
Right.
we had Latricia and Harriet and I had the opportunity to actually visit the studio, and you want to talk about impressive.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, just
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
there is
Mhm.
professional.
Yeah.
I felt like I was on the CNN news set, the cameras. And so I'll plug, BCMC as well.
Thank
If you're
you.
looking for something of high quality, and we met, oh, I can't think of his name.
Was it Tom or Tony? No,
Tony?
No, the
Ronald,
first Ronald, first
Ronald.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, the first guy, Ronald.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, and
and
very knowledgeable and things like that. You won't be disappointed if you just pop in and give them a bit. No, you have to schedule, I guess. Schedule an
yeah,
appointment to come in and
because
visit. Yeah.
we're still in that COVID situation.
Right. Right.
I know. I can't wait till this is over because I would love for us to come in and do something.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Me,
I mean, yeah. And it's what you said earlier was interesting when you said there were only about 20 producers, non-producers, whichever, and then COVID hit and the numbers grew.
we're up in
That
the 40s now.
right,
Yeah,
right.
we're up in,
Double.
Because
yeah,
everything is virtual now, and people are doing things virtually. And
yeah.
it's so
And and also one thing that and we could talk more offline about it. I hope.
okay, okay, okay. We'll talk more like. As a matter of
And
fact, we'll take a quick break. How about that? We'll take a quick commercial, and we will go to our VN commercial and come right back and continue talking. All right,
VBN.
that was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah,
producing shows,
I was in the midst of getting my groove
I
on.
know.
I was like, oh, the video's about to end.
music.
Come back. What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
One of the things that I just want to definitely mention for those who may be interested, and I hope AWIC is one of those people that may be interested, is that we also take pre-recorded productions. So you don't have to feel like you have to go in the studio and produce something or do something remotely outside or at another studio. Um, these kind of forums fit very nicely into our programming.
Oh, is that hint, hint, look,
Hint.
hint, hint.
yes, shameless
We
plug.
take it.
Shameless plug.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
shameless
We,
plug.
We're there.
right, right.
We're
When
there
you
with you.
yeah.
Yeah, some of the newer shows are pre-recorded. They're actually produced. Two of them are produced on for DCTV, so they
Mm-hmm.
come out here, and then and then another one is I don't. It's like in a whole nother state. I'm not even sure where, but the producer lives here, so it's like
Oh,
take it.
yeah, yeah.
Not,
Oh, you
I
can
don't
you
care
can
how
have
you
a
do
show.
it, as long as it fits within the standards for public
Mhm.
access. We'll
Right.
put it in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have our show at the beach, and then we'll record that. And
Yeah.
I love it.
that's a good show.
One of the, and I think you already may have already answered this because I was going to ask in terms of being able to utilize the studios, are there certain qualifications or criteria you have to meet? That was one question. The other thing was, as a woman as a president, as a woman in a position of authority, it's a whole. These are game changers now. It's like we used to be the quote unquote minority, but now it seems like we're more populating this area, and I'm so glad to see that. So what would how do you feel in terms of being a trailblazer? But that's what I think. I mean, every time I see women in these positions, I'm saying they're trailblazers. They're not trailing behind. So I want to get your feedback on how you feel in terms of where you are and what you're able to do and the possibilities, potential for anyone.
Wow. So the first question that you asked about
Criteria.
In the studio, and actually I'm trying to remember how you couched it, because I think I did.
What's the criteria? Is there criteria for actually using your facilities and doing those kinds of things?
Yeah, so we'll do, when a person comes in and if they have no experience at all, Harriet, with working the camera, for example, and they want to do a remote shoot. So we do have technicians on the ground that will not only supply you with the camera, the lighting equipment, and the microphone, which in itself may seem, oh my gosh, do I really want to do this? It may seem daunting. They'll of course show you how to use it. And then there are some people that may sign up to even support your shoot. And so there's that resource as well. Definitely anyone who doesn't have any prior knowledge in production, don't fear. Just come in and just express, what your needs are, and then we'll definitely have someone there who can train you. As far as being a media mogul,
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I put it that way only because I heard another sister who actually used to be the president for DC television couch it that way, and I love the way she said that. You know what? One thing that I think is very true about women, but particularly sisters, I think when we move into a position, particularly a position of authority, that we give it 1000%. And part of that means to be open to looking at, okay, this is what I've inherited, and being open to hearing from other people about, why did we do it this way? Why are we continuing to do it this way? And looking for support, at least for me, the way I do it, I look for support from a community perspective, because I didn't want to come in regulating and saying we're going to do it this way because I said so, because I have a degree in this and I went to school for this, and I have that background, and you don't. No, that never ever was a place that I wanted to operate from. I always, with intention and doing it on purpose, wanted to step into that position and try to raise the bar without hurting anybody. Sometimes you can hurt people when you, especially technology, because it has really changed, and people who have been doing this for years that haven't stayed up with the technology may feel left out, but you want them to feel So I would say, for me, just generally speaking, I felt empowered because they did kind of look to me, because I had those credentials going into it. But at the same time, hopefully helping them feel that, what you're bringing to the table is just as valuable. And let's do this together. Let's do this together.
Yes.
I was going to say, and you touched a little bit about it earlier, upon it, your faith and how you put God first. So with you working in a public access TV station, how does that affect what you do? Does it affect what you do?
It does, because it's public access. It's like the freedom of the voice, and sometimes that voice is not in keeping with anything that you think is godly.
Right.
But you can't censor it.
Yeah.
And so in those cases, but you best believe I'm making sure that they're not hitting on anything that should be censored.
How about that?
But I also put them not in prime time. They're not scheduled for prime time. They up there 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight, where there may be viewers that may be offended by it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
We had a show. This person was very anti-abortion.
Mm.
But he would show images that could be very um,
Mm.
insulting or
Yeah.
would get people
Distasteful.
offended. But
Wow.
I couldn't censor that.
Mm.
Um, so I just moved it to a place where it wouldn't be, kids weren't walking past the TV if they were watching it with their parents or their grandparents. People
Mm.
would be offended. So that's how I would deal with that. But yeah,
Mm.
and that so there's the being a Christian woman, which you can't really bring that in to the
Mhm.
discussion
Mhm.
directly. We do have some Christian programming.
Right.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank God no one has wanted to do some atheist KKK stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but if they introduce that kind of programming, we'd have to look at it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
make sure that it's in keeping with the guidelines for public access. And if it is,
Mhm.
then what can I do?
And so I have a follow-on question. When you do the timing of a show, knowing that you can't censor it, um, do you get feedback from viewers that may have seen something that could possibly have disturbed them? Do you get a lot of mail, a lot of feedback behind that type of thing?
With that programming, we did, and so we had it earlier. I think that it came on at 10, so we pushed it. Just and explain to the person that sent me an email about it, that it's public access television, and just as we don't want to censor all of the things that come in that are within the guidelines. Um, we want to show fairness at all
Mhm.
times. The person didn't respond back. So that was the person that actually wrote me. There were other producers that also were not okay with the
Yeah.
programming, and they're a harder audience to appease. um,
Right.
but the good thing is that they also know the guidelines because we're all under it. So
The
it was
same.
easier
Yeah.
to
Okay.
kind of have the conversation with them versus someone that was just a viewer and just watched it at that time. But we
Mm.
did accommodate it by pushing it. And
Mm.
then the other good thing is that the person has not produced any new content, so we have had to really deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes God
God works it out. He knows what he's doing.
He works it out. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have new content, but I'm not, knocking on the door asking them, "Hey,
Mm.
Right.
I
Mm.
think
Right.
time slot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have to lose that slot. I need new content, or I'm gonna have to cut you."
Mhm. Right.
Yeah. V,
Absolutely.
I know we've been kind of like bouncing around here, asking questions, the book, or whatever, but we have to because you are such a multifaceted woman, and yes, yes. But I want to jump back a little bit to V. Helena, the author.
Okay.
I'm an avid reader, and my favorite, well, next to the Word of God, of course, uh, I guess genre is mysteries and thrillers.
Oh yes.
And so
Ooh.
help me God. Talk
Yeah.
about so help me God, please.
Oh my goodness. Well, so help me God is actually with the publisher now, and that's a whole nother process that we probably don't have time for. Because to talk about that, we'd have to talk about how the publishing industry has treated African American writers up to this point. We'd have to talk about, some other instances where it appears that the industry is trying to do a reset, and what does that look like? So I won't get into all of that, but I'll talk to you about so help God that I really do pray is picked up. So the short summary is I love suspense thrillers. I love watching them. I love reading them. And Help Me God is it's located the time is now, and Location is Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. politics. Because I worked for the government for years and years and years and have held positions in relatively high places and been around it, I've had an opportunity to see some really juicy stuff. So, of course, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. And
Or not so innocent.
I was about to say, or not so innocent.
Right,
Right.
just been changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you tell we're from government and in those same
yeah,
levels? So
we all can connect on that very, very important fact of the not so innocent. But it's a almost a rags to riches, but not really. This guy, he was a gangbanger on the street. He decides that he's going to clean up his act. He becomes a minister, and very, very popular minister. And some of the things I'm going to tell you, you may even know people in the area that might fit some of what I'm saying, but it's not them. So
it's not the person you're thinking about.
So she says.
So he gets into the politics ring. He actually runs for mayor of DC, and his city pass starts to catch up with him. You know how when you're in these positions of authority and everybody wants to, you got a brother man. And so he was. Do you guys remember Rayful Edmonds? I can't say his.
Yes.
So, and you remember like the 8th Street crew?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, of course, we didn't use any of those names, but our protagonist, once upon a time ran in those circles. So, like I said, he changes his life, and I won't get into the details of what happened that made his life turn for Christ and be passionate about Christ. And so he's been trying to stay the straight and narrow, but all of these influences, just trying to pull him down. And then something happened.
Wait a minute, and then what?
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And tune in to AWIC TV Experience. No, just kidding.
I'm going to take you.
Tune into part 2, right?
Right. Don't tell us too much.
Oh my God.
And it pulls him back into that world. And so you're like, up to that point, you're rooting for him. You're like, oh my God, these people are really gunning for him. And then he does something stupid. And now he's trying to cover. It's like the mass covering. And so, whenever you try to cover something, who's in operation?
The enemy.
Yes. And so, I can tell you. So he ends up being mayor, but he has a lot of debts to pay. That's because he started getting into liaisons with those people he shouldn't have been messing with to cover what he did back there.
Right.
So he becomes mayor at the end, and that's the start of book 2.
All right.
Okay. Leave it there, because you say it's not people we know, but just leave it right there.
Right.
Yes.
Right there. Lisa, put up her contact information so people, if you want to get this juicy one, contact her.
Follow me,
Helena.
and I'll be putting on my Facebook and Instagram pages the status of where the book is and any book signings and things like that. I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. We want to be a part of that. That's
yeah.
exciting.
And the movie is going to be on VBN.
Yes. Well, you know what? It's interesting because I have that, that training in script writing and film. I totally saw the movie playing out in my head as I was writing it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I'll be his wife.
Right.
You know what? So listen, the first lady.
That's what I'm saying. I'll be the first lady. Yes.
She's a humdinger. She's a humdinger.
I can be a humdinger.
Oh,
You can
she
be a
has
humdinger.
to be.
I'll be in there. You let me know what character. I'll play one. I love
Trashina.
characters.
I'll do your music.
Trashina in there.
I'll do your music. All the songs for you play.
Yeah.
All the songs for you.
Yeah, I develop characters. So let me know.
But you did make a point, and I know that's probably a point for another subject for another day, but it would be interesting because you said something about the way that African American writers have been treated.
Mm-hmm.
You see how many African American publishing houses are actually coming into. God works bad for good. It always turns around. He makes it good. So I'm glad that this is happening in our industry now. So just want to make that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We have about 10 more minutes though. We still have a little bit more time to talk.
okay.
Hey, Lynette is chomping at the bit. What?
So often we're talking about, look, this is, I'm coming up with all these segues. Have you noticed that? I'm getting skilled at that. But anyway, so we were talking about movies. You've already done movies. Talk about 3.
Including a music video. Yeah. So
Talk about that.
do you guys remember George Howard? He passed
Oh
away.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was so while I was in film school at Howard, I didn't graduate from Howard. I graduated from American University Film School, but I did like a year at Howard, and I met 3 dynamic women, Kenyette Newman, Sherelle Williams, and Monique Lindsay, and we formed a company called For Real Productions. And so we had an agreement with Mojazz, which was a jazz arm of Motown.
Okay.
And so their artists, we were able to work out an agreement with them to do some music videos. We were only able to do one because, like the Beatles, we broke up.
The reunion thing.
Look, were you at least Paul? Were you at least Paul?
We love each other, but and I wouldn't say that project is what pushed us away, but we were all kind of looking in different directions anyway. We had just graduated. Well, we hadn't graduated. I hadn't graduated from there. They all graduated from Howard University, but after we did that music video, we just kind of moved in different directions, but we still love each other today. And then the film, When I'm Ready, so I wrote that screenplay, and we actually went into full production. It is a full-length film. You don't want me to tell you what it's about, do you? Where you can go is I think you can go to IMDb. I mean, it was so long ago. It was like in the late 90s. So I don't think that's anything that you can even find now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't tried. I mean, I do have a copy of it if I ever want to pop it in to see. Marcus Johnson did our
the music.
Yeah.
Love
Local artist. Yeah. And then we did one music video, one film. The other one I just worked on. It wasn't my production. Right. We did something with Nike. And I was actually, I think, the second AD on that. But the other production that we did that wasn't a film or music video was a play. So I wrote a play for, at the time it was Full Gospel. Now it's From the Heart Church Ministries.
Right. Cherry. That's a Cherry.
Yeah. Pastor Cherry Senior had asked me to write a play. I don't know if you guys know about the trials that church kind of went through. He had a vision, and he asked me if I could write a play. And so I wrote the play for that. It was called The Mountaintop Experience.
Okay.
I'm also DOL, Lynette. You probably don't know that.
You did what?
God's Trombone. I wrote a play that was done on stage at the Department of Labor. I don't know if you
I do. You work with what's his name? The musician.
Yes. Well, Eddie Jones was my main contact person, but I see
Bennett.
Yes,
my cousin.
Yeah. He has a church now too. But anyway, okay, I'm off topic. Okay.
Yeah. I did hear about that. I love that I've had the opportunity to kind of work in these different genres as a writer,
Yes.
Yeah.
appreciating um,
Hmm.
those artists. God has just blessed me in so many ways with that.
Right. I love
And
that
one
you're
thing
so.
about, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love that you're so humble and it's so easy to talk. Yeah, when Harriet mentioned earlier about women who get in these positions and
Hmm.
they're media moguls and there's an air of arrogancy can be there, and that's not with you. You're very humble, very relatable, and easygoing, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I know that probably that's your character, but I also see the Holy Spirit working in you and through you and
Mhm.
making some things shift and change.
Yeah.
Stay the
Yes.
course that buoy because you're there for a
Mm,
specific role. You're there for a specific role, so
Mhm.
it'll
yeah,
happen.
I appreciate that.
And
Honestly, I don't. If Lynette hadn't brought that up, I wouldn't have even had thought of those things because honestly, like I will finish a project and I just move to the next one. Like the whole accolades and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't. That's not why I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm doing it because it's the purpose that He's placed in me, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. So, and so I just want to stay in there. I don't want to get caught up in the other stuff that of celebrity. Like I definitely don't consider myself a celebrity for sure. And I'm president, but I see that as a collective. Like we are doing this, not me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I but when the time comes, when I have to lay down the law, then I do that.
Yeah, yeah,
You got to
right.
leave because and people are looking for you to do that, but not in a way that's going to put people down or make them feel less.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we leaders should not have people feel less than or get come together. Let's do this together. You have something to bring to the table.
yeah. That's not lead. You're right. That's not leading. If you have to diminish somebody else to feel larger, then you already aren't a leader.
Something's
But I
got
just wanted. I'm so encouraged by you. I'm also a writer, an author, playwright, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah,
And I'm just loving one thing about writing. It can be anywhere. You can do
yeah,
anything. It doesn't matter. I'm thinking about God says write the vision. I mean, your vision is only
yes.
as small as you make it. It's as large as He's giving it to you. So I want to encourage you to keep going. And you got me excited. Okay, let me go on. When I get off, I have to go and look at my stuff that I've been writing. And but
Yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. What would you say? How would you encourage other writers out there, people who have the ideas and just haven't thought about it, or maybe have slacked up a little? How would you encourage them? How would you encourage us to keep it going?
You know what, Harriet? I think because iron sharpens irons,
Mm.
I think definitely connecting with other writers. Like I would love to connect with you, and just kind of have whether it's a weekly call or a monthly call. Like, hey sis, how are you
Oh,
doing?
oh, so, yeah,
Where are you? Where are you
we
in
will
your
do it.
project? Yeah, so I would definitely for anyone that's writing, if you're not in a writers group, I thoroughly encourage
Encourage.
to
Hmm. Yeah.
do that. And also read good literature. Oh my gosh.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can't
Mm.
say that enough.
Mhm.
And then some people may ask, well, what's good literature? I reading in the genre that you enjoy and reading people who are at
Yes.
the top of their game in that genre
Hmm.
is I think good literature. Like I probably have read every single Toni Morrison book. I also love
Yeah.
James Patterson because he writes
Hmm.
thrillers.
Suspense
Oh yeah.
thrillers.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever your genre,
Hmm.
whether it be literature or poetry, good poets, Nikki Giovanni. I mean, just
Hmm.
read them. Be ferocious about just
Yeah.
kind of letting that talent wash over you.
Hmm.
Not to mimic it, of course, but
Right.
be inspired by it because
Hmm.
it keeps
Yes.
you going. It keeps you going. I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that would be
Hmm.
my advice.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you came on. Just like Harry, we're creatives. I love playwriting, creating characters. They always tease me because I have so many characters that I create. But I love that you. Yeah, I love that you are on, and you're very diverse. When we talk about the arts, you have a part in all areas of it. The writing, the
Mhm.
producing, the editing, all of it behind the scenes. So it really is cohesive. When you talked about putting yourself with a writers group, sometimes writers groups are limited strictly writing an aspect, but broaden it to producing and see what else is out there. All kind of creativity is out there, and we know that people have a broader access um, to viewership because of technology now, because
Yeah.
of shows like yours and shows like at Bowie and so on and so forth. And we talk more and more and more about it, but unfortunately, we're out of
Yeah.
time. We are out of time. And so maybe we'll have to have you come back. How about that?
Yeah.
And yes, have to
Come
have you
back to talk
come.
about the book and the movie.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell us about the book. And
I'll have-
yeah, and talk about how Lisa can be that wife. And
I was about to say, and we'll talk about how I auditioned and got the part.
Well, you got
Yes.
the audition. You got the part.
that, is such
Once they see you.
Lord
that
have
is such a fun.
mercy.
I love when we had people come in audition for the film.
Mhm.
That is such a fun. At least I would love to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, look, you're now AWIC family. So we'll
Yes.
you won't you have
You
yeah,
love
you're
that.
our family. You're part of our family. So we will definitely have to have you back and keep in touch with you offset and do some
Mm.
creative things. But we are going to close our show because we know if we keep talking, we'll be here for another hour. Look,
Okay.
because those ladies love to talk. B. That's why those ladies.
Well, Harriet, let's stay in touch with the writing.
We will definitely, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for being on our show. We're going to close out our show. Thank you, our audience, for participating and supporting. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share our channel, our information. We're out there everywhere. And Lynette is going to close us out.
Yes, I am. I am. I think that this show has been another great example of what happens with AWIC TV and our mantra of trying to connect women with women to support women and iron sharpening iron and all of that stuff, encouraging us to do the damn thing, discover your value, access your voice, and move in victory. That's what we do here. So go and get started.
And
Thank you for tuning in to AWIC TV Experiences with Anointed Women in Christ. And join us next week, Sundays at 7 p.m. and Wednesdays at noon. View us on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV on the VBN network. And follow us on all of our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube page at AWIC TV Experiences. And visit our website at anointedwomeninchrist.com. And we encourage you to do the damn thing. Discover your value, access your voice, and move in victory on AWIC TV